to the studio and let's see whether Nedum, Izzy and Natalie agree with me that there were plenty of positives from that half.
Welcome back to Matchday Live. So City trail 1-0 at the break, but I agree with our commentator Alistair Mann. It was a good first half performance. Lots to talk about here in the studio with Izzy and Nedum. Izzy, give us your assessment of that first half.
Yeah, I think Ali's spot on. Super positive. By far the most dominant team. I think Phil Foden's looking physically really good. I think his ability to press, you know, the way that he's cutting off players for Atletico in terms of the way he's angling his runs, I thought has been really impressive in that sort of central zone. They're pressing with a front 4-2-4, which we saw a lot last season under Pep. But yeah, no, I think wingers have looked good as we expected. Braden called that before the game, didn't he? The wingers were going to have an impact. Semenyo's been excellent. I think Savinho's had his moments. So yeah, all in all, positive, but obviously 1-0 down. It was a little bit scruffy, the goal we conceded. But yeah, all in all, a lot of positives, and let's hope we can start to knit a few more passes together in the second half and find the back of the net as well.
Yeah, City trailing, Nedum, but who do you think is the happier manager at this point?
Probably just similar, to be honest. I don't think either manager is going to be living and dying essentially by the score. And if we look at the performance, relatively speaking, I think City have looked the better side. I think the goal, you described it well, it was a scruffy goal. You know, the type which you don't want to be seeing any week throughout this season. But in terms of, like, general play, I think City have looked better. I think the wingers have been dominating their sort of battles, and City, for the most part, defended really well. But it's just that reminder, again, like a little lapse, just a moment in time, and you can be punished. And then off the back of that, I thought Atletico did look quite good for the next 3 or 4 minutes after the goal was scored, because that was their confidence boost. But City, they don't look flustered. They know what they're trying to do. They're playing on what looks like not the best of pitches in terms of moving the ball, and still moving the ball pretty well. But it's just the sort of final details, because I think if you play a game like they've played so far in that first half, you'd want to at least have scored 1 goal. And the fact that they haven't, you know, it's early in the season, it's, you know, obviously late in the pre-season as such, but I think both managers will be completely fine.
In terms of that goal, we just saw it back there. Defensively, could we have done anything different?
Yeah, so one of the curses that I have, I don't know if you're the same as, is like every time I see a goal, I think about what could be done differently. And to be honest, it started with the sort of counter-attack transition that Atletico had just before that. But then when the ball comes in, could the first header have been better? Could have been contested better on the edge of the box just before somebody gets a toe on it to play in the defender to score. So yeah, there are lots of little details like that. And you've got so many bodies in that space. But who affected the 2 people for Atletico that made the difference? The guy that gets the assist and the guy that scores the goal. They've basically ended up being untouched. And you've got 10 of your players within probably 5 yards of him. So you want to, if people are going to score, like Vincent Kompany said, it's like he hates losing, but he'll accept it when people earn it and they deserve it. But when somebody scores a goal like that against you and you've kind of made it easier for them, it's very tough to accept and move on from. So yeah, I think there's more they could have done there.
Always wise words.
Yeah.
Vincent Kompany.
Yeah.
Love that. OK, we're going to go back over now pitch side to the gents who are in Seoul.
Yeah, thank you very much. Welcome back to the Seoul World Cup Stadium half-time. Manchester City 1 goal down, but a lot of positives to take from this first half, Shaun.
I was stuck in the lift, so I didn't actually get to see the goal. But in the grand scheme of things, I thought City have been a better team. They pressed in the right positions, even if they haven't got it. That midfielder behind them is in the right position. That picks up that loose ball. And our wingers, for me, have been unbelievable on both sides at taking our man on when they get that one-on-one chance. And if only we had Mubama on the pitch, I think we would have been 2 or 3-0 up, because me and Scott have been talking up there and counting how many crosses have gone through the box, haven't we, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. The ball has definitely gone across the face of goal. Excellent work from both Semenyo and Savinho. We've spoken a lot about wingers here, Scott, whilst we've been on this tour, and this is the reason why. It seems like the whole system is geared towards getting the ball out to them quickly and them trying to beat their man. We've seen positive signs from the both of them. In particular, Savinho, we didn't necessarily see this from him last season. That was quite loud, but he did really well twice, got past his fullback, put the ball across the face, and that's what Shaun, I think, was talking about.
Yeah, definitely. I think both of them from the first minute were really positive. And another thing we were talking about up there is, I think before with Pep, they had to hold the positions when the other winger had the ball, whereas now they've both been really direct, really positive. They've got the beating of the fullbacks, and I think now, if they can read it and get it into the back cross, they could have a couple of tap-ins themselves, and it's just maybe one more thing that they've got to add to the game, where they could pick themselves a couple of goals up by literally just having a little wander into the back post.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're wondering what's going on here at the Seoul World Cup Stadium, there is a live concert. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh,
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I'm live.
the look on Divine's face there is one of absolute disappointment. He was so disappointed.
Never meet your heroes, that's what they say.
Yeah, but I didn't even look. I just tried to do something quite cool and it didn't play out.
Yeah, we'll get that clipped up for you, Shaun. For sure.
Like the rest of them that I've got.
We definitely will. Listen, Scott, it's not. I thought it was your time to shine as well. We're super close to the legs. In terms of the midfield as well, Tajani, Cover and Phil, how do you see that dynamic working? We saw lots of positivity from Tajani Reinders, especially carrying the ball. He did really well in some moments, nearly got himself a goal really early on.
Yeah, I think when we break Atletico down and we get the ball on transition and it's open for Reinders to run, like he did with that wonderful run he done, that's perfect for him, that suits him down to a T. I think when we get in the final third and it's a little bit more controlled, I think by the looks of the setup, they have to be maybe a little bit more patient in holding the positions, because Atletico's going to a back five as soon as we get the ball higher up. And the centre halves are wanting to jump onto them too. And I think when they do that, that's when Marmoushi's going to come into action, and he has to make them runs on the side, because from watching the game first half, it looks to me Omar's making a bit too many of the runs too straight. And when, say, Cover's got the ball in the middle of the park, to play that ball over the top straight, it's too difficult. He's just going to get swallowed up by the keeper. So I think if he starts angling his runs a little bit, he's going to get a lot more joy.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, City have got another 45 minutes. A quick reminder to everyone, there is no penalty shootout if it's a draw tonight, and that's probably because the whole squad are heading back to Manchester straight after the game. Shaun, looking at the players we've got out here warming up, is there anyone that you would look to bring on, aside from Divine Mabama, who you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, and it's very. I think if we can get those two on, they might give us a little bit different, because we are playing well, but as Scott said, it's quite a low block. So there are times and opportunities where the ball are popping up outside the box, and they're the sort of players that will take that shot on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, 45 minutes to go here as part of our Asia tour. We'll head back to Manchester right now, unless you want to stay and enjoy the live music like we're going to.
I'm ready.
We know that.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping we might have seen Shaun start dancing to the music that was going on in the background, but we'll have to wait for that pleasure, indeed. Thank you very much to FG, to Shaun and to Scott there. You can see that we are joined by Braden and by Amos. They're back on the wall behind us. Braden, what did you make of that first 45?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not at the score that we want coming into the break, but as everyone said, I think it was pretty positive, particularly as we mentioned before the game, and now down the wings we're having so much joy and freedom. Savinho in particular and Semenyo, they beat the man every single time, and it's almost like agonising in it, because the ball comes into the box and it's just asking for someone to just tap it in the net, but it just gets cleared away every time. I think, just as Shaun said, pitch side in Korea, I think I'd like to see Echeverri come off the bench and play, definitely. I think that'd be a good addition to the second half. I think he'd offer something new in the midfield. But lots of positives. And again, it's only pre-season, innit, guys? Let's not read into it too much.
Amos, what's impressed you about that first 45?
I think the intensity has definitely stepped up from the last couple of matches. Obviously, it's natural. You're approaching the start of the new season. Matheus Nunes has caught my eye a little bit. I can see him having a really successful season. I think he could be a beneficiary of Enzo Maresca's new system. Obviously, he's getting a lot on the ball. I think more so last year we did see him as more of a traditional fullback, hitting the byline, etc. But in this little inverted role, he's having opportunities to pick out passes, and he's obviously got the ability to do so. And Kovacic feeding balls through as well. I think that's certainly been a positive from the first 45 minutes.
I agree on Matheus Nunes. There was a ball towards the end of the half that was just really, really good. Really good, and I love to see that from him.
Yeah, he's got the technical ability. Obviously, most of his career he spent as a central midfielder. Guardiola, as he's done with several different players, converts them into a fullback, and you do need that in the modern day because obviously we know with Pep he wanted 11 midfielders across the team, but even still, Maresca I'm sure will be taking advantage of that, and it can be a definite positive for City.
In terms of changes for the second half, Amos, are you expecting to see quite a few?
I reckon so. Yeah, obviously this is the last pre-season game. I know some people will say that the Community Shield is part of that programme, but I think with a trophy on the line, Maresca will be taking it seriously. I'm with the lads in Seoul. I think Mbama would be a great addition because you've seen those balls going across the box, and I think Marmoush predicted him to score a goal. He's come very close, but he's kind of like in between a 9 and a 10. He's not that traditional number 9. He's not necessarily a number 10. He's more of a second striker. So I think if you have that focal point, then hopefully City will be able to get some more sights at goal.
Izzy, what do you think about the second half? Do you want to see a lot of rotation, or do you want to see, like we talked about previously, starting to hone in on what is going to be the 11?
The latter for me. I'd like to see a bit more consistency of the same 11 finishing through maybe to 70, 75 minutes. Obviously, there are strong options on the bench, but I think Enzo Maresca will want to see this team respond. We speak about, pre-season, but there's an element of character you can find in the players in these situations. And, like Amos said there's a trophy on the line next weekend, and this club's about winning trophies. And I think Maresca will want to have a look at what he's got now, set them out in the second half with some ideas on how to get back in the game and how the players are going to continue to gel and cement their places in the team. And I think that he does have the luxury of changing, but I personally would love to see it stay the way it is and see a response from the guys.
In terms of the defence to the former defender, there's been a lot of talking points with City fans over the summer in terms of who is going to be the starting back four next season. Have you seen anything today that gets you any closer to deciding what yours would be?
I do not have a clue, I'll be honest. Sorry, my mask has been slipped. I have no idea what I'm talking about. And I think from City, it's because of the options that they have. And I think for Maresca, it's the same as Pep. With those options, you can create whatever sort of plan you need for whichever team you're playing against. Because, for example, Josko can be very good at left-back, but so can Ait-Nouri, so can Nico O'Reilly. So it's almost a case of which profile fits any particular game. At centre-halves, you've got the sort of balance of certain players as well. It's good to see Victor Reyes out there as well. You've got Guehi, you've got Ruben Diaz. Josko can come inside. You've got so many more. And then on the right-hand side, you could play Kuznetsov for right-back. You could play Núñez at right-back. So, again, it's just about whatever the game's going to be. And I think something about Maresca is that he's a thoughtful manager from that standpoint. Mm-hmm. And he's got certain positions which he would always play certain people in. But I think the rotations are a strength. I think, for me, through the Guardiola era, those rotations around certain pieces were a strength. So I don't know what it's going to be, but I don't think there's anybody that's done anything in that half there which would suggest that it won't be part of the plans for the few next weeks ahead.
Amos, how are you feeling defensively about next season?
Yeah, I think there's some question marks, as Nedum mentions there. We're heading into a new management. He's going to have, little tweaks. But I think just in terms of the group, it's so solid. Nico O'Reilly's to come back, Mark Gay's to come back. Josko Gvardiol from his injury last season. That was a massive blow for City in the second half of the campaign. Ruben Diaz has had a few fitness problems himself, but I think in that first 45 minutes, we saw him looking really sharp. Options. I mean, City, you've got what? Fingers crossed, if things go to plan, over 60 games in the season, you can't rely on 4 or 5 players. You do need depth. And I look across the, right down to Vita Heist there in maybe some would argue the 5th spot. I think he's a great player to have there, and he's looked really good this pre-season campaign. So while I agree that starting sort of back four isn't necessarily set in stone by any means, I think there's so many combinations that can make sense and should be good going forward.
60 games. As soon as you say that, Amos, when we're on the 3rd pre-season game, I suddenly go, whoa, pure. Long season ahead.
Bit crap on the calf, thinking about it.
Yeah. Fingers crossed as well. We'd love that long season ahead. But I completely agree about Gvardiol. Braden, it's so good to see him back, obviously, after the injury that he had with us last season. What have you made of him in that first 45? And do you prefer him left back or centre back?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I love Josko. I mean, it was a shame to see him out last season, but I'm so happy he's back. And the fact that he signed his big, long contract makes it all even better. I'm a big fan of Nico O'Reilly, though, at left back as well. So it's difficult to pick between the two, but it's top that. He's a great player, Josko. And I think, as we've mentioned, all the defensive options are top quality players. Vita Rice as well, as just mentioned there. We've got friends over in Brazil, and when he signed for City, they said he was unbelievable and one of the best centre-halves they've ever seen. So it'll be interesting to see how he develops. But it's so strong. And back to Josko, yeah, I mean, I like him at left back. I think he's so calm on the ball. I think he can pass through the lines. So I'm gonna say I prefer him at left back, but it's tough to pick between him and Nico O'Reilly.
Braden, I am bang with you there on that one.
Thank you. That's
great minds, eh? Great minds think alike.
Braden, that is a compliment, by the way.
No, absolutely.
But then, could Nico O'Reilly go into midfield under Maresca? Because you got Ray and Nouri as well.
I know. I mean, there's so many players. It's crazy. I mean, we've seen Nouri actually play a bit higher up as well, didn't we, the other day? I mean, he's got tricky feet. I think, when O'Reilly played in midfield, he scored a lot of goals, didn't he, when he was in the box getting his head on it? I don't know. I mean, if Maresca needs any help, he can give me a call.
Braden, you have enough jobs at the minute.
Superb.
I don't think you have time to be helping Enzo out as well. Thank you.
Class.
Thank you so much, Braden. Thank you so much, Amos. Thank you, Nedum. Thank you very much, Izzy. Thank you, everybody. We will be back here at full time. We're going to do an extra long, hour-long full-time show so that we can look back on the game and also look ahead to the Community Shield against Arsenal. So join us then, back over now to our second half commentary. To watch this, you need to be on City Plus, and let's go over to Alistair Mann and to Steve Howie.
Thank you, Nat. I'm being tested again by another singer. I have to say I was 3/4 right before the first half kicked off. A gentleman, I'm told, called San, who is indeed part of the K-pop.
Chao San or something.
Yeah.
Chao San.
You
got the K-pop thing.
I did. I was right.
I don't even know
with
what
the
K-pop is.
Yeah. He's not part of the K-pop regime, but he is a brilliant South Korean international. Lee Kang-in, and we're hoping that we'll see a glimpse of him in the second half. I'm sure we will. The crowd are desperate to see him out there playing. Terms of changes, I'm going to do my best to keep on top of them, but there isn't much notification given before they happen. But it looks as though Rico